Perfect. Right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Michael Rhodes. I lead data and application partnerships at Snowflake. I'm very pleased to have you join us today, where myself, together with Ross from Tealium, will be presenting on the ability to unlock real-time value through the Snowflake and Tealium partnership. A bit about Snowflake and this partnership together with Tealium. So, as the AI and data cloud platform, partnerships like this really enable our customers to seamlessly and securely leverage their own customer data for real-time engagement, analytics, and AI initiatives. Now, this capability is enabled through the zero-copy bidirectional data sharing that Snowflake enables with our partners, meaning that the data can move between your Snowflake data platform and the Tealium CDP with very minimal effort. And you'll be hearing from Ross a little bit more on that shortly. Now, the outcome, of course, is that customers are able to build more robust, targeted, and timely campaigns built on the ecosystem of data that's available to them in the platform. At the same time, they're also lowering the burden that is faced by technical teams when it comes to building and managing pipelines. And what we'll do through this session as well, Ross is also going to touch on some case studies of existing customers who have been able to deploy these joint capabilities. So without further ado, let me pass over to Ross, who's going to go through that presentation in a bit more detail.
That's great. Thanks, Michael. Welcome to everyone. Pleasure to be able to join you today. My name's Ross Macrae. I'm a principal CDP strategist at Tealium, and my role is really to make sure that Tealium customers, along with all of the other applications and data sources and data destinations that they bring to play, that they use to operate their business, to make sure that they all get the maximum out of all of those platforms, putting their data to work. And what we want to talk about today is the integration between Tealium and Snowflake. So it's probably a good idea to start off with just talking about what Tealium does to begin with. And Tealium's proposition is that if you had a view of customer that was everywhere that it needed to be at the moment it needed to be there, then you would be able to deliver on customer expectations that they be treated in just the right way at every platform, at every touch point, no matter where that is. And you'd be able to consistently serve experiences which ultimately are going to drive your business better. So I want the same view of customer that I've got in my cloud data platform in Snowflake, for example. I want as much of that to be visible and actionable, say, on the website, or say at the call center, or say to my display and social ad bidding processes, for example. So the idea is that if that view of customer can be everywhere that it needs to be, then I can really act on it and drive business on a kind of scaled one-to-one, always-on way. And in fact, you can think of Tealium as being your always-on real-time data layer for the entire business. Yes, it serves customer experience, but it also increasingly is serving the needs of AI and agentic AI. And it also needs to be compliant with privacy and security policies, the permissions that every individual customer and prospective customer has given us in terms of how we may use their data. And it also needs to be efficient. It can't be an IT project every time we have a new piece of data that we want to act on and make available. So that's Tealium's proposition. And what we have heard recently, a few industry forces are coming to play. First one is, and this is actually a concept that Snowflake came up with and characterized, this idea of migrating centers of data gravity, meaning that as cloud data platforms attain more and more functionality, as they make it easier and easier to replicate data into them, as they start to build out apps and other capabilities, then there is this notion of data and services and whole organizations migrate towards that data platform. And as a result, kind of paradoxically, it can start to become a silo all of its own, even though it's an all-encompassing one. And the challenge with that center of gravity is that at times when I need the data to be out there and to be acted upon, then that center of gravity, that gravity is working against us. And that middle box that we have here is the counterpoint to this center of gravity, which is that we have expanding demands for activation. So really, I need my data to be everywhere I need it to be in the moment. So those two things kind of compete with each other. We also see another theme out there, which is a topic for another day, regarding how easy or the barriers to making data valuable. We'll touch on that in a different session. But let's just expand on this idea of the center of gravity. So our cloud data platform is an ideal home for a single source of truth. That's exactly what Snowflake does for thousands of businesses around the world. And it is the place where we can deliver on our full customer 360 vision. So it's also, for many businesses, it's our default center and our brain, if you like, for the MarTech stack. That's where all the intelligence is. And you can, in many ways, we think of them as being like an anchor tenant of the entire enterprise data structure. You've got a cloud data platform, and it's managing AI workflows for you. Platforms like Snowflake, for example, data sharing, the ability to share data, as Michael mentioned, without necessarily even moving it from where it is, but to make it available to, between partners, for example, as platforms like Snowflake bring in more and more partner apps and more capabilities that run natively on that technology. Again, all contributing to the center of gravity around the cloud data platform. And in terms of all of the ways that we've got of making sure that data gets replicated, change data capture at the bottom there, data gets replicated into Snowflake such that we now know it's got a complete view. All of this is now what we're centering our kind of data environment around. Or maybe that should be a but we want to activate this view everywhere that it's needed. And so this is where Tealium is going to come in. So with Snowflake, we can think of Snowflake as our kind of lifetime view of the customer. It also includes non-customer data, of course, as well, any kind of operational ERP style data. And you can think of Tealium as being the real-time customer data in motion, whose job it is to be this underlying data layer at every touch point. And many businesses think of Snowflake, for example, as being the brain. So that it's where the analytics is. It's where we are building AI and ML models. The rest of our enterprise data is there. It's kind of the brain. And you can think of Tealium as being the nervous system. So you can think of Tealium as being collecting real-time behavioral signals, for example, out at the edge, out at customer touch points, sending those signals into the brain, into Snowflake. Snowflake's making sense of it, building models, making predictions. And then what does Tealium do? It also takes those signals coming out of the brain and allows the business to act on them out there at those customer touch points in the call center, for example, on the web, in the mobile app, in CRM, for example. So that's how you can see Tealium and Snowflake coming together. Now let's look at how Tealium and data clouds do fit together. Look at the top of this diagram at the moment, top left-hand side. So you have Tealium collecting data at the edge, particularly streaming data from mobile app and website, bringing into the middle there, and building profiles and views of customer that you can then stream out to all of your platforms of engagement on the right-hand side. And then look at the bottom half of the diagram here, which is our cloud data platform, Snowflake, where we've got operational data, second and third party data, master data management type data, identity data, all of your core organizational data sitting there ready to contribute. And those two arrows in the middle represent how Tealium and the cloud data platform and Snowflake, how they actually integrate with each other. And in fact, specifically with Snowflake, and Tealium was very proud to be the first customer data platform to build this integration in. Tealium has a direct streaming integration with the Snowpipe streaming connector, meaning that any data flowing into Tealium, particularly that behavioral data, that's coming from the site and the app, the in the moment data signals, to stream that directly in real time into Snowflake. And then the other way around, we've got a native connector which allows you to pull data into Tealium, whether you choose to write it in Tealium or not. You might just choose to stream it through, but there is a native connector from Tealium which allows you at any frequency from a few seconds to daily or hourly to bring data in as it changes over in Snowflake and bring that into Tealium. So in this way, we've now got Tealium and Snowflake directly integrated in real time, and both has the complete view of customer. So let's talk about a couple of case studies. These are a couple of Tealium customers that have those integrations in place, and just talk a little bit about what they're doing with it. The first one's legal and general, insurance, pensions, retirement provider, and they're using Tealium and Snowflake together like this. And this is how they represent their use of the two platforms. So over on the left-hand side, they're using Tealium for experience delivery, channel and profile orchestration, and for making real-time decisions as data signals pass through. And if you look at the right-hand side, what Snowflake is used for is the analysis of those experiences. That's where the full customer 360 view is held. For legal and general. And that's where they're developing insights and understandings, which means things like next best action models and propensities. And in fact, in L&G's case, a customer lifetime value prediction that they make. So that's what the two platforms are being used for. And they've got some very specific outcomes that they've had. So firstly, what they're able to do in what is a complex kind of lengthy application process if it comes to pensions and insurance and retirement plans and things like that. What they're doing is, depending where a person maybe gets lost off or starts to struggle through the process, they're routing people directly to the call center. Based on those data signals that are coming in and based on what they know from Snowflake insights about an individual customer and where they are and what they might be likely to do next. And what they are finding there when they do that, when that signal goes to the call center, because it has both real time and like kind of lifetime data from Snowflake in it, then they're seeing a 58% increase in call to lead conversion when they pass someone through to the call center to just help them get through to the next stage of the application. Digital journeys in the middle. What they're doing there is that for the purely digital experience, when a person's on the site making their application journey, what they're doing is they're personalizing various parts of the site based on the profile of that individual and also based on the knowledge and insights they've got about that individual that has come from Snowflake, for example. So they're getting 15% increase in online purchase conversions purely in that digital realm. And then on the right-hand side, where it gets very sophisticated, inside Snowflake, the legal and general are building, as I mentioned, a predicted lifetime value. And so with that, it's a very sophisticated model based on the behavioral data and other data from across the organization. But what they're then able to do, being integrated with Tealium, is to be able to do things like ROAS-based or AI-based optimization of their campaigns, the bidding rules that they then adopt over in their paid media campaigns for advertising and social. They're able to actually use that likelihood of how that predicted lifetime value to influence their bidding. And so they're getting significantly better return on investment for their ad campaigns because they're choosing to spend it and choosing to bid for who they know will be the most valuable customers to get them all the way through to conversion. And then at the bottom of this picture here, because the data is flowing in both directions, they now have a central place where, thanks to both behavioral conversion data and lifetime data from all of their product systems, they've got a reliable way of measuring campaign success sitting there in this single source of truth. So that's legal in general. Then we have another case study, Spark New Zealand, telco in New Zealand, who are using Tealium and Snowflake. And they had a few reasons for even thinking about putting the two things together. Firstly, they wanted to get their operational ERP style data. They wanted an efficient way of using data that they wouldn't necessarily have in the Tealium sort of active view of customer, but they needed to have that data available, for example, in email campaigns. I need to know what the contents of a cart was if I'm going to send it out in an email. And an efficient way to do that is to move that data between Snowflake and Tealium. So this was a good reason for them to integrate the two platforms. They also, again, because there's so much data in Snowflake, it's a perfectly good place to build audiences. And as Michael mentioned at the beginning, it's this idea of sharing or moving or acting on data without moving it was valuable for Spark and Z2. They also wanted to unlock the historical and lifetime data that they got there and make it available in the real time, in the moment data ecosystem where Tealium plays. And then finally, they wanted to enable deep modeling and advanced segmentation and to power one of their AI decisioning engines with behavioral data. So all this meant if we can put Tealium and Snowflake together, then they'll be able to accomplish all of those things. And this is what Spark NZ has in place. Tealium sitting in the middle there. And if you look over on the left-hand side, in fact, look at the top to start with. So that's Spark's mobile app and website collecting behavioral data. On the left-hand side, we've got Snowflake with customer data, operational data, even non-customer data, is all able to influence the profile that's sitting inside Tealium. If you look down at the bottom, you can see that Tealium is writing behavioral data out back into Snowflake. And now look at the bottom left-hand corner where it says Capello. So Capello is a platform, a decisioning platform that SparkNZ has built, and it's sitting on top of Snowflake. And what it's actually doing is building next best actions based on all of the data that is natively in Snowflake and all of the behavioral data that Tealium is streaming through. And that then means that everything on the right-hand side of this picture, their TikTok campaigns, their DV360 campaigns, their Meta, their Facebook campaigns, their site personalization through Adobe Target, for example, their analytics, and even their emerging agentic AI applications, and now have all of this Snowflake data and behavioral data all providing valuable signals to each of those platforms in the moment. And they're seeing significant outcomes too. So yeah, more relevant offers are getting made, so they're getting higher conversions. They're able to suppress reliably, so they're reducing marketing costs in the moment. They're getting faster decisioning, so faster time to value, increased relevance to customers in the moment. And they're finding new insights in Capello. So fuel for future products, bundles, and experiences are all being driven by that data. They've so far delivered over $7 million worth of additional margin value, 30% uplift in conversion rates in both the paid and their own channels, and a 14% decrease in cost to acquire. So this stuff works. So a couple of case studies there that show when you have the streaming capabilities always on, matched, married with, and integrated seamlessly with lifetime and other operational data, the value that can be brought to bear. And really, to summarize, this is what we see as the value of the two platforms. They're like a power duo, Tealium and Snowflake together. What you get is a unified, actionable customer data. It's reliable, streamlined, and always on data pipelines, privacy safe. Every data signal comes with a signal telling us what we can use it for. And that then drives return on investment too. It's omni-channel AI decisioning in real time across the entire, every single touch point. And really, if I was to sum it up in one bullet point, it's this. It's the cloud data platform put to work. So if you'd like to hear more, please reach out to your customer success manager or your account executive, and we'll arrange a session to do some discovery with you, and let's work out together how Tealium and Snowflake, as I say, can put your data to work and start to drive real business value. Thank you.